Have you ever tried to hear the difference between the modes, but have a hard time hearing what makes each one so special? There's a reason for that. It's not about speed, it's not about effects, and it's not even about fancy chords. It all comes down to something that completely changes how your ear hears the notes that you play. In this episode, I'm going to show you one simple trick that can completely change how you hear modes, and it starts with just one note. By the end of this episode, you'll actually hear the modes, not just play them, and you'll know exactly how to use a simple droning trick to unlock their true character. If you're new to me, my name is Zach, and I'm here to help metal and rock guitarists solo better, understand the theory behind heavy music, and ultimately glorify God with their instrument. So now let's dive in. So the one thing that really allows us to hear the difference and the different flavors that each mode has to offer is droning an open string. Now, an open string works really well for this because it acts as a pedal tone, which allows your ears to fall back to a home base and stay grounded to the root note or the first note of each mode that you play. And so repeating the pedal tone serves as a periodic reminder of what your reference point is so that all the other notes you play around it are able to let their colors shine and show through. And in this case, we're going to be working with the low E string as our open string that we're going to drone, because that ends up freeing all the other 5 strings for us to play and choose from while we keep defaulting back to that open low E string. So as you start droning that low E string, what's really happening is that your ear starts to lock into a tonal center. Once you get used to that feeling, being grounded to a home note, it becomes much easier to recognize when something sounds bright, dark, tense, or resolved. And honestly, that same awareness of tonal balance applies directly to your amp tone too. So if you've ever struggled to dial in a killer sound, one that cuts through the mix but still feels full and balanced, I put together a free resource to help you out with that. It's called my Elite Tones Cheat Sheet, and it walks you through how to shape your amp tone so that you can find your sweet spot fast. It even includes direct links to some of my favorite free amp sim plugins so you can experiment with those right away. Plus, it's got some hacks in there to show you how to make those digital amp simulators sound like authentic physical amplifiers. You can grab it for free in the description by hitting that link there or by going to zachsharguitar.com. It's a great companion to what we're doing here because when your ear starts to hear tonal color, you'll naturally start shaping your tones with more precision as well. So one of the key concepts that's going to help us a lot with what we're doing right here, right now, is intervals. So having a strong understanding, or at least a fundamental understanding of intervals, can go a long way in helping you out with that. So an interval is pretty much just the distance from one note to another. There are 7 scale degrees per octave in a given mode, and these degrees are represented by numbers ranging from 1 to 7 or from root to 7. Each mode is defined by a specific pattern of intervals being whole steps or half steps. So, for example, the best interval I think to look at would be the 3rd interval. Now, in the case of what we're working with here, I'm going to start on E, being the 7th fret of the A string. We're going to look at the 3rd interval there. So by itself, that third, or the third, is typically assumed to be the major third. In this case, it signifies that whatever mode we're playing in, will be a happier, brighter sounding mode. However, if we lower that note to a minor third by shifting it down a half step, it completely changes the mood of whatever it is we're working with, and it arguably changes the entire mode. So we can have something like this as opposed to this. Now, if I add the drone over it, you get that, or you can get each of the main diatonic modes has either a major third or a minor third interval, so that would indicate whether the mode we're working with has a brighter sound or a darker sound. And that's the main interval I tend to like to focus on, but besides the third, the sixth and even the seventh scale degrees also play big roles in shaping the mode's character. So just for a quick illustration, the difference between the Dorian mode and the Aeolian mode is the sixth degree. So here we've got, we're going to start with Aeolian, the standard minor scale. Now we're going to shift it to Dorian just by sliding that minor sixth here up a half step. As opposed to now let's put all this into action. So after I drone my low E string, I'm going to maintain the seventh position for the most part as I go through all the different modes just to get a taste of each of the flavors of them. And the reason why I'll maintain that position on the seventh fret is that that's another E note, which will give my fretting hand a nice reference point to fall back to so that it matches the octave of the droned low E string. So I'm going to demonstrate this for you right now, so pay attention as I go through the different modes and observe or make a note to yourself how each mode brings its own unique flavor to the table. Droning that low E string is not just an exercise, it's a way to train your ears to truly hear the personality of each mode. When your ear stays anchored to that one note, every interval and tone starts to stand out. Suddenly, modes stop feeling like memorized patterns and start sounding like unique moods you can actually use in your playing. And speaking of shaping your sound, if you want to take that same ear based approach to dialing in killer amp tones, make sure you grab my free Elite Tones cheat sheet if you have not done so already. It walks you through how to craft tones that sound full, balanced, and powerful, whether you're using real amps or amp sims. And it even includes direct links to some of my favorite free amp sim plugins to get you started fast. It even shows you how to make those digital amp simulators sound like authentic physical amplifiers. You can grab that for free by using the link in the description or by heading over to ZachSharGuitar.com. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Zach with Zach Shar Guitar. Stick in with your guitar journey, and God bless.